Hello, my name is Summer. Today we'll be speaking about parenting styles and the impact it has on your child's sexuality. This presentation is by me, Cass, and Zen. So these are the two that I did. Overindulgent parenting style. So you set rules but rarely enforce them. You let your kids get whatever they want. So, kind of kid with the gold spoon in his mouth. But you don't give out consequences often. You give a child unlimited amount of attention, money, experiences, and they lack responsibility developmentally inappropriate levels. So that means that you don't give your kid the chance to experience being a kid without having everything that is access to them. You know what I'm saying? So basically, when I grew up, I didn't have a lot of toys or stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Or just we didn't go on trips, I didn't get to see the world, I didn't get to go to Disney World or stuff like that. But when I did, I appreciated it a lot more when I was able to do stuff like that, because it makes me have gratitude for what I didn't have and what I do have now. So these children tend to be more spoiled on the spoiled side, and they kind of don't necessarily have good peer relationships because they're used to getting what they want. So when they don't get what they want, it's like, oh my God, you don't love me, you don't care about me, So a child might associate love with gift giving or overindulgent behavior. So, that's the side. And then the parent usually is too soft on the child and over nurturing. So I've seen a lot of kids, especially now, saying that their parent is overly obsessed with them and cares about them too much, even as an adult. And stuff like that kind of affects the adolescent and young adult portion of their life, because they're trying to find independence and they can't find that independence without the help of someone else. You know what I'm saying? So being a parent that is able to know when to step in and when to not and let your child figure it out is amazing. It's always going to get your kid far. Number 4 is the neglectful parenting style. Doesn't ask child about schoolwork or homework, not involved in social life. Allows child to do whatever they want, rarely knows where child is and who they are with, doesn't spend time with child, alone, one-on-one, no emotional connection, and then failure to guide child through school, jobs, and relationships and more. So now this one is really detrimental. This is what I'm going to focus on mainly because there's a lot of research about neglectful parenting styles. One thing I wanted to mention is does parenting style influence the relationship between parent, youth, and sexual risk communication? So obviously it does, because parenting style equals relationship with child. So whatever parenting style you choose is going to be the relationship you have with your child. And it's not subject to the 4 categories because everyone's different. You cannot place everyone in the same category. But there's certain ways people act in the way it's similar. So I think, yes, it does influence that sexual risk communication, because if you don't have that communication between you and your child about sex and about, the world and what people are expecting and, stuff like that, then they're gonna potentially experience things that you never wanted them to experience in the first place, but you just forgot to tell them something. So, according to the article, Relationships Between Parenting Styles and Risk Behaviors in Adolescent Health, by Kathy Newman, she states, adolescents raised in authoritative households consistently demonstrate higher protective and fewer risk factors than adolescents from non-authoritative families. So, that's just an explanation of authoritative being the best option. Indulgent parenting style and sexuality communications. Okay, so pros of the overindulgent parenting style. Kid figures out that he has good communication with his parents. There's minimal conflict. Doesn't have to worry about what he does wrong too much, you know what I'm saying? But could be both ways. Protect child from stress. That could also be positive and negative, but it's also good, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't want your child to go through that stress. Might strongly discourage sexual behaviors, tries to be overly involved in every aspect of their child's life, even inappropriate matters. The cons is the child has poor impulse control or behavioral problems, increased risk of engaging in substance abuse or sexual behavior. So this overindulgent parenting style is like, I want this kid is leading the parenting style. Like, this kid is controlling you guys, like the parents. So the child feels like he can make his own decisions. He or she can make his own decisions. So when he or she is ready to have sex, regardless of if he or she knows everything about it, you know, he or she is going to do it regardless, and probably not talk to the parents because there's no authority, you know, like there's no like, oh, if I do this, it'll be wrong. So the child has lack of self-discipline, social skills, and self-regulation. Social skills is important. Knowing when you're overstepping boundaries, knowing when you're hurting someone, knowing when to not freak out because you didn't get what you want is very important. Last, the neglectful parenting style and sexuality communication. So pros of that is child learns independence at a young age, learns self-resilience skills, self-motivating and works problems out by themselves. Child tries to self-educate themselves and relies on peer relationships. Those are all the pros I could probably come up with, because I experienced also kind of a emotionally neglectful parenting style, only because my mom was dealing with her own problems. But you know how that goes. I was able to realize, like, okay, like I need to do things for myself. Like, that's the only way I'm going to be successful. And the cons of this style is high risk for sexual activity at a developmentally inappropriate age, high risk for teen pregnancy, and unsafe sex, so STIs, STD, stuff like that. Parents show no interest in child's curiosity about sex, and the child most likely doesn't feel comfortable enough to speak about it, especially if that emotional neglect, like me personally, me and my mom didn't speak about sex. We didn't talk about it unless like I asked about it, because I really needed to know, because I didn't feel comfortable asking anyone else. So, you know, like I experienced like stuff I shouldn't have when I was younger, and I should have spoke up about it, but I didn't, because I just didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel like I had somebody to talk to. So this is really important. Parents usually do not speak about child or sexual interactions, which leaves child clueless until they learn from others or experiences, which is exactly what I went through. Relies on peer guidance, which can be misleading if involved in the wrong group. Okay, so if you are a neglectful parent and your child has a friend group and they're heavily influenced by that friend group because you are not influencing them or giving them guidance or giving them anything they need, then yeah. And then the statistics, the U.S. researcher, Emeritus Professor Jake Najaman, said that the 20-year study found neglected children at the highest rates of teen pregnancy. So my sister got pregnant when she was 16. And, you know, that just shows like the effects of neglectful parenting. Like, we went to go search out for love from other people because we weren't getting it where we needed it. And so this is just another proof that neglectful parenting style is probably the worst when it comes to sexual communication. And there's many statistics and facts to prove. But I know this has been kind of long, but thank you for listening. Hope you have a good day.
Hello, my name is Zen Goodrich, and this is my slide about speaking to your child about sex. Research states that the students who get this talk earlier are more likely to be safer with their sexual life and take necessary measures to make sure that they are safe. It is recommended to start this talk off slowly and gradually add more details as the child gets older as they mature more. As soon as the child learns to speak, you should get familiar with their body parts and have them understanding where everything is located, like where their genitals are and stuff like that. According to Planned Parenthood, research tells us that kids and teens who have regular conversations with their parents and caregivers about sex and relationships are less likely to take risks with their sexual health and more likely to be healthy and safe. Personally, I really do agree with that. Planned Parenthood also gave some examples of how to speak with your child about sex. The example that stood out to me was this one. Don't jump to conclusions about why they're asking what they're asking. You can say, can you tell me what you already know about that? Or what have you heard about that? This to me is a good example because it gives them a voice without you trying to seem like you know everything. And that's really important, especially to a young child, that they can feel like they can voice their opinions and voice what they think they know about stuff. Planned Parenthood stated when the child reaches the age of 5, you can start talking to them about how the baby comes out of the mother's body, but then by the age of 10, you should be speaking to them about how the baby comes out of the mother's vagina, and then after that, you kind of just keep building onto that as slow as you want to, and there's never like too late of a time to start talking to your children about sex and stuff like that. The main reasons adults even have sex is to reproduce. So telling a child, no matter what age, can really help them have a better understanding and for them to be safer with their sexual life and their.
Thank you for watching.